He's written many other books, including this little baby, Last Chance to See. Please welcome Douglas Adams. Thanks for joining us, Douglas. Now, this book is called Last Chance or Chance to See. What's it about?
Well, it's basically about a year I spent with a friend of mine, a zoologist called Mark Carwardine, going around the world looking for various rare and endangered species of animal. Mm-hmm. The way I actually sold it to my publishers, who were very nervous about letting me out of the house, is that I would go around the world, look for various rare endangered species of animal, and make jokes about them. And in fact, I mean, the book is a humorous book, but on the other hand, it's also serious about the topic. Yeah, it lies sort of somewhere between Life on Earth and Three Men in a Boat.
Now you went to China looking for endangered species. What was that? Was that the panda?
No, that was a rarer animal on the panda. It was the Yangtze River dolphin, which is an almost blind dolphin. It lives in the Yangtze River. The reason it's almost blind is there's actually nothing to see in the Yangtze River. Because visibility is just about that length of.
That is the blind dolphin there.
That's right. That's actually in a pool because the Yangtze River. I mean, you wouldn't be able to see anything at all, because it's gone blind, it relies on echolocation instead. That was fine up until this century when man invents the diesel engine, and suddenly there are junks going up and down the Yangtze River with great throbbing engines on the back churning up the water, and because they use echo to find their way around, suddenly their whole environment is destroyed because they can't find anything. They're completely lost and bewildered, so they're constantly sort of bumping into boats, getting churned up in propellers and all that kind of stuff. And I try and find out what it sounds like in the Yangtze River, because there's so much noise going on in it. And we said this to our sound recordist because we were doing this for BBC Radio. And he said, well, I wish you'd told me that when we were in London because, we need a waterproof microphone for this. So we said, what do we do? And he said, well, there is a standard BBC technique for recording underwater in an emergency. I said, yes, what's that? And he said, well, you get the microphone and you put it in a condom. Have either of you got condoms on you? And neither of us had, or at least if we had, we weren't saying so. It wasn't that kind of trip. And so we...
well, dolphins aren't that much fun.
So we had a happy day. We had a happy day trying to buy a packet of condoms in Shanghai, which you would think would be easy, because they have terrible population problems there, and they're trying to restrict every family to one child. So you're shortly going to have a generation of 1 billion only children, which is going to be a very psych-twisted generation. But anyway, we couldn't make ourselves understood at all.
Were you going to Chinese chemists?
That's right. Well, any store at all that looked as if it might sell cars, it's very hard to tell what's a chemist. So, I had to sort of go and do rather detailed little diagrams, sort of getting the balloon right at the end. And went and showed this to people, and people sort of brought us, a wooden spoon and a paper knife. And somebody brought us rather engagingly a small porcelain model of the Eiffel Tower. And then after a while, I resorted to a rather delicate little mime that I won't attempt to do on public television. But that got the idea, and somebody brought us a packet of contraceptive pills. So we said, thank you very much, right idea, wrong method. And they said, no, this is much better, it's much more effective. And we said, yeah, but you see, we actually want them for recording under the Yangtze River the sound of dolphins. Now, chemists have heard some strange excuses in their life.
Yeah, but that one takes the cake. Yes. You had a similar experience, or a similar problem with a kestrel, as I understand it.
Oh, yes, the kestrel. I should warn anybody who ever goes to Mauritius, do not go wearing a hat. The Mauritius kestrel is a very seriously sexually confused animal. Because there are so few of them, they have to be bred in captivity. And there is a wonderful mad Welshman who has worked incredibly hard for 10 years saving... That's one of them, that's right, yes. This Welshman, whose name is Carl Jones, has worked incredibly hard for many years saving these animals. And the problem is that to get them to breed in captivity is a bit difficult because because there are so few of them, it means that each one has to be reared by a human being, and it means they get the wrong idea about what's going on. It's rather like, when Titania wakes up in A Midsummer Night's Dream and the first thing she sees is an ass, Bottom an ass, and falls in love with him.
Yep.
Well, when a kestrel is born, it kind of relates to the first thing it sees, which in this case is usually a mad Welshman. So the kestrels grow up thinking they're Welshmen.
And they sing Delilah and work in coal mines.
That's right. Well, and when you try and get them to mate with other kestrels, they're not interested. I think it's a load of birds. And, they just expect to sort of go out to restaurants and stuff. So what this guy Carl Jones has to do, when they basically have to collect semen, you see, from the kestrels.
Which is one of the great jobs of all time,
well,
kestrel semen.
That's right, yes. Well, what he has to do, he has to go into the aviary wearing a very special kind of hat, which is
let's not be too specific about this whole thing. Anyhow, he goes into the aviary.
He goes into the aviary wearing this hat, which has got a sort of strange sort of rubber brim, and he goes in, and the kestrel goes wild with sexual passion for him, dives down, and sleeps with his hat very vigorously, and then they have to